Welcome to the Badass Direct Sales Mastery Podcast with your direct sales dom, Jennie Bellinger. Badass Direct Sales Mastery is a podcast for rock star direct sales moms who are determined to make their business kick ass. Jennie will share her knowledge of effective sales and recruiting techniques, tips to get what you want from your business, and will interview direct sales professionals and leaders from various companies. The interviews will give insight to how these rock stars got to where they are and where they plan to grow in the future. And now, the direct sales dom, Jennie Bellinger.
Welcome back to another episode of Badass Direct Sales Mastery. I'm your host, your direct sales dom, Jennie Bellinger, helping you whip your business into shape. And I am excited because my guest today is someone who, when we both ended up in a networking event together, we both almost at the same time ended up sending a message to each other going, "Hey, you've been on my radar for a while." Oh my God, no way, me too. So I am so excited to bring Jay Fairbrother to the Badass Direct Sales Mastery podcast because he is a serial entrepreneur, a business coach, and mastermind guru with 30 years of experience in starting, buying, and selling seven-figure businesses. Jay's story includes losing everything after the 2010 financial crisis and rising from the shame to shine as the Mastermind Guy. Jay helps coaches and experts with the programs he uses, calling the six-figure Mastermind Bootcamp and Mastermind Mastery, create and launch your high-end mastermind in 60 days. So Jay, the Mastermind Guy, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Jennie. I am always going to be thrilled to jump on a show with a title of with badass in the title. So,
I mean, who doesn't? And if they don't want to, then it's probably a good thing that they stay away, right? So, Jay, that's a really interesting intro there that you've bought and sold many seven-figure businesses. And you also went through literally losing everything in 2010 and now have rebuilt in these 14 years to being the Mastermind Guy here. So tell us how you became the Mastermind Guy.
Yeah. So I started so I have had 9 businesses over the last 30 years. And if you just do that math, you can pretty much guess that they weren't all successful, but I've had some pretty good success. So my first business I started when I was 30, and I was pretty lucky right out of the gate, grew it to $1 million in revenue within a couple of years, but I got stuck there. I couldn't seem to break through that sort of $1 million barrier. And that's when I joined my first mastermind. I joined this organization called the Young Entrepreneurs Organization and got put into my very first mastermind. And that was 25 years ago because I wasn't smart enough in the first 5 years to jump in.
That's okay. We all learn.
So I still remember to this day walking out of that first meeting, a mastermind of entrepreneurs, and saying to myself, "Oh my God, I found my tribe." Like I knew after one meeting that these were my people. Like they got me, they understood me, they were me. And I just was like, this is great. And I was all in. What happened in that first mastermind, though, shocked me because we joined that mastermind, all of us, just to grow our businesses and be better entrepreneurs. Right. And within 5 or 6 months of being in these meetings, I'm watching grown men break down and cry as they start to open up and talk about their messed up marriages and their kid problems and how the business is creating anxiety and depression. And this wasn't what we signed up for.
Right.
But it was really my first experience as an adult with that level of human connection. And that part was so new to me and so strange and unexpected that I was like all in. So I started joining every mastermind I could. And over the next several years, I joined another 6 or 7 masterminds.
Oh my gosh.
And as a result, my business started to take off. So I grew that first business to $10 million in annual revenue and sold it in 2004. And when you sell an 8-figure business, life gets pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
So I traveled extensively. I bought 3 other businesses, invested in lots of different things. And then, if anyone listening can relate to having a period in your life where things were going along swimmingly and something out of your control happens, in 2008, the world financial crisis started.
Yep.
And over the next several years, I lost everything. So within a few years, I quite literally went from being a multimillionaire living in a mansion overlooking one of the rivers of Pittsburgh
Wow.
to living in my friend's basement, broke, bankrupt, divorced, alone, humiliated, and really ashamed.
Mm.
Because for 15 years, I had built this identity as this really successful serial entrepreneur. And there I was sitting in that basement with nothing, not even a car.
Wow.
So my journey out of that basement, unfortunately, was not fast. I spent 5 months literally in that basement, but more like 5 years figuratively, dealing with that shame.
Mm.
And the only reason that I made it through that difficult time were the couple masterminds that I stayed in through that period, because the support that I got from the people in those masterminds went way beyond a basement to live in and a car I could borrow for 7 months.
Yeah.
I can't even articulate the level of emotional and psychological support that I got from being in those masterminds. That first mastermind I joined 25 years ago, I actually ended up staying in it for 17 years. So
Wow.
every month, meeting with mostly the same group of people over that 17-year period, to me, the value of being in that mastermind is far and above the most value I've ever, have gotten as an entrepreneur, above trainings and coaches and mentors and gurus and that kind of
Yeah.
thing. So that's why I'm passionate about masterminds is, from in my experience, it not only helped me 10x my first business, but saved my life during that time period when it was pretty dark.
Yeah. Well, and it's something that I've heard a lot. And for the first 7 years that I was in the world of business, I was in direct sales, which, yes, is a business that you quote unquote do by yourself, but you do have that community of other people who are in the same company with, the same product and programs and things, right? But when I came out as a coach and went out on my own as a coach in 2017, that's when I realized, oh, it got real lonely real quick. And I will say, I've been a BNI member since 2011. My membership in BNI, which I have always treated at the highest level as a mastermind that I'm a part of, right? Not every member is in the mastermind situation with me, but I've got some relationships because of that. And that's been my support through those lonely times of doing business literally by myself for a period of time. So I feel you on that. So let's define mastermind, because I hear it thrown around a lot. And I had never heard of masterminding until 2013. So I'd love to know how you define, because you are the mastermind guy. So how do you define a mastermind?
Yeah, it's a great question. And you touched on, the distinction that I'll make between a community,
Mm-hmm.
between a group coaching program, and between a mastermind, right? So Napoleon Hill is credited with coming up with the term mastermind in Think and Grow Rich. And the concept's pretty simple. You put one person in a room with a brain, second brain in the room, and you create this third invisible, intangible force that he labeled the mastermind.
Mm-hmm.
So if you imagine putting 8 to 14 brains in a room, the size of the invisible, intangible force that you create when you activate collaboration and co-creation, and when you tap into the collective experience, the collective wisdom, collective knowledge of everybody in the group. The reason I use the number 8 to 14, and now I'm talking about, what I call sort of the true mastermind, the Napoleon Hill type mastermind.
Yeah.
Is because one of the important principles in mastermind meetings is that in every meeting, every person participates and has a voice.
Mm.
And if you have 20 or 30 people in your mastermind, you need a 4 to 6 hour meeting in order to really have everybody have a voice.
Yeah.
So the distinction between community group coaching and masterminds, to take it to another level, is masterminds, you want to create a container, a safe space where people feel respected, where they build trust, and most importantly, relationships with each other, right? That you identified in, that with some of the BNI group, you've built that level of the relationships, right? It's not just a transactional kind of thing.
Right.
And communities are nice, but people aren't going to open up and talk about the real shit in their lives in communities, in public spaces where they don't know the other people. They don't know if they can trust confidentiality. They're not sure if they respect the other people. And so in a mastermind group, you want to have a level of commonality among the people so that they walk out of the mastermind meetings thinking, oh my God, I can't believe how much we're alike. Right. And the distinction with group coaching, because in our industry of coaches, thought leaders, authors, etc.,
right,
the term mastermind is bastardized, right? Like there's many mastermind, what's called a mastermind programs that, it's really just glorified group coaching where people show up, pray to the altar of the guru, they'll, Q&A, maybe a hot seat every once in a while.
Yep.
And they call it a mastermind because that's sexier and they can get more money. So the key differentiation, if you think about, for those of you who have ever been in a group coaching program, probably at the end of the program, you walked out of it still not really knowing all the other people that were in the program with you. The guru teaching, you have that relationship, and on a surface level the other people in the program, but you haven't really built relationships with them.
Right.
And so for me and the clients that I work with that I help create masterminds, many of them create what I call a hybrid, which is in between a group coaching program and that true mastermind with 8 to 14 people. So for instance, I run a hybrid mastermind for my clients because in that mastermind, I'm still doing a lot of training, coaching, and mentoring because I'm helping people build their online business around a mastermind program.
Sure.
But we take it to the next level of a group coaching program because I'm doing things in that mastermind to very intentionally build the relationships between the other people in the program.
I love that. And I think that's so important because I think that is the big distinction, is that the mastermind comes from the belief that everyone in the room brings value, right?
Absolutely.
They bring their experiences, they bring their expertise, they bring their knowledge, they bring their resources to the whole group. Whereas when it's a group coaching, like you said, the coach is the guru, right? And they're facilitating a coaching conversation that may involve a little bit of training or maybe a little bit of consulting, whatever it may be during the course of the conversation. But ultimately, it comes down to the coach having the answers. In the mastermind, you have a facilitator, right? But they don't have to have all the answer.
Or all the content. Yeah.
Right.
Right.
Exactly.
Just the thought of creating 12 months of content for a program that I run, that would keep me up at night. Just that pressure to create all that content. Yeah. So the other sort of difference is that it's a concept of peer learning. So in my case, for instance, I spend about $60,000 a year for mentors that I hire to help me, grow my coaching business. Those mentors typically, it's the third or fourth time they tell me to do something that it, might gets through my stubborn, independent nature. And I'm like, okay, I'll try that now.
Yep.
But in a mastermind, in a peer learning environment, when I'm listening, when I'm not the target of the experience, advice, whatever, like I can hear somebody else going through a similar situation as me getting coached and by the group, right? And I get it the first time. Like
Yeah.
because I can draw the parallels and draw my own conclusion rather than being told what to do.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, oh, okay, that's what I need to do. It's like, so to me, that's the power of peer learning is truly transformational.
Yeah. And that's what I tell people when we're having conversations around like why private coaching versus group coaching versus a mastermind, right? Because the benefit of group coaching and the mastermind, one of the mutual benefits for both of those is what you just described and what I've heard called the borrowed benefit, right? You get borrowed benefit from someone else being coached in front of you, whether it's by the coach or by the mastermind participants in the mastermind, right? That borrowed benefit is so powerful because of exactly what you described,
Yeah.
right? It's that connection. It's very similar to because I come from the world of teaching. My background was teaching, and I always tried to get the kids to come up with the answers. I didn't want to give them the answers because if I gave them the answer, they wouldn't remember it.
Yeah. 100%. So that's a little micro strategy is and distinction between group coaching and masterminds. Like if you put somebody on a hot seat in a group coaching situation,
Mm-hmm.
you as the mentor coach are going to coach that person while others listen and watch.
Right.
In a mastermind, if you're putting somebody on a hot seat, and the way I recommend you do it is before you say a word to help that person, you ask everybody else in the room to give their feedback, their shared experience around that person's issue.
Mm-hmm.
And then what's really beautiful is when the people in the room give the same advice, maybe because they learned it from you as the guru mentor that you would have given,
Yep.
and you become more the cleanup hitter. You come in after everybody after you've pulled out all the value you can from the other participants, then you come in and fill in the gaps. Or maybe you can even redirect and say, so and so said this, and that's valid in these situations. I have a different perspective. Here's how I would look. So, yeah, it exponentiates the learning and, as you said, the borrowed benefits.
Absolutely. And I will say, because I mentioned that I had first heard of masterminding in 2013 and I heard about it, and I should put air quotes around heard. I actually read about it when a group of us who in my Park Lane jewelry business, I had heard my mentor say over and over and over again, you've got to read The Success Principles by Jack Canfield. You've got to read it. You've got she would quote it all the time. It was always sitting on the table in front of her whenever she would train. It was just there. It was, it was like her version of a business Bible, like it was just there and she would pull from it from time to time. And so finally I took the hint and said, okay, let's read this book. And one of the chapters, one of the success principles is get a mastermind going, either run it yourself or go find one and participate in one. And he gives the beginning ideas and he talks about it just like you did from the Napoleon Hill perspective. But the gals and I who book clubbed the success principles then went on to continue and we switched it over to a mastermind. And that's what took all of our businesses to the next level because it was after that point that all of us started earning the trip. All of us started getting our names on stage, called on stage at company convention. That mastermind in the network marketing, direct sales world is so powerful, whether it's a bunch of people from the same company or people from different companies. Because I've also done that.
Yes. So let's talk about that for a second.
Sure.
Because, first of all, every person listening should find a peer mastermind,
Mm-hmm.
right? This may not be something you're doing to monetize your business or to make any money from, although I'm always a believer people should have some skin in the game in a mastermind because commitment and participation is critical. But peer masterminds, so I run 3 masterminds. I have a local in-person mastermind here in Pittsburgh of entrepreneurs. I have a peer mastermind, which are other 6-figure coaches looking to get to the next level.
Mm-hmm.
And then I have a mastermind for my clients where I'm helping them build 6-figure plus online coaching businesses. So in the direct sales world, you kind of hit on it. There's a couple of avenues. So in most direct sales kinds of environments, and this is similar with like franchising,
Mm-hmm.
the franchise or the master company provides training. They provide a community. You probably have a Facebook group and chat things and that kind of thing. And that's helpful, but it's not the same as putting yourself in a more intimate, exclusive group to take it to that next level where, like in my earlier example, where people are breaking down and crying because now you've created this container of safety, trust, confidentiality, and respect. So in the direct sales world, often that training that's provided or the community that's provided from the master corporation is dumbed down because they have to, appease everybody in the group.
Yeah.
So it's a combination of brand new people asking stupid questions, and then people have been at it for, the top producer's been at it for 5 years, and it's like, I don't have time for these, to listen to these newbies get coached, And so within that direct sales environment, to take and create your own little mastermind group out of the top producers. Or you could go the other way around and say, let's create a group of all people who are, in their first 6 months, because we all have similar problems and challenges and frustrations.
Right.
And we can help each other navigate through those challenges, frustrations faster than just being part of this larger community or group coaching environment. So that's one aspect, is to sort of drill down in terms of subgroups within the community.
Oh, yeah.
And then the other you mentioned too, which is if you're leadership or you're, in that top producing group in one direct sales lane, to join people from other direct sales lanes who are also either in leadership or in that top producing category, because now you're opening up, like in singular direct lane situations, typically everybody thinks in the same sandbox.
Yeah.
Right? We're borrowing from each other, but we're all doing, similar things. We think about it in the same framework. We have been taught in the same framework.
Right.
But then you start exposing yourself to other leaders or top producers in another direct sales type of line. And you're like, I wonder if what they're doing over there might apply to how I can build my business and take it to the next level. So I think there's 2 natural opportunities for anyone in the direct sales arena to look at creating your own mastermind or joining one.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, like I said, it was really when I started doing that, because my business was already on a great trajectory. I had already started earning trips by the time I participated in my first mastermind. But then it just went next level, because all of a sudden that's when my team hit number 1 in the world. That's when my team, because I, as the leader, was working with other people who were in leadership, and we were going that next level. And yes, we were the people who were, not just talking business and leadership. It was personal life was going on, sharing what was going on in our families. And oh my God, how are you guys handling, this with your kids? Or how are you handling your spouse who maybe is being less than supportive right now? Or, just all kinds of things were coming up that were outside of the business realm, so health stuff would be discussed. I mean, there's a lot that comes up in those. And like you said, there's got to be that feeling of safety and comfort, knowing that we're all protected.
Yeah. So there's 2 critical components to creating a mastermind group like this. One is the container, right?
Mhm.
So a lot of people think, okay, I'll go out, create a mastermind of entrepreneurs and we'll get together and have cocktails and, commiserate and talk about our problems. Everybody will, and when there's not enough structure and the container isn't set properly, those
Mhm.
masterminds usually don't last. They're certainly not going to last for 17 years.
Yeah.
So creating that container is critically important so that people have a clear understanding of the expectations, the rules, the protocols, and how the thing's going to run. And there is some structure to it so that it's not just like, okay, we show up every 2 weeks and whatever anybody wants to talk about, we talk about. So that container is the one piece. And then the second piece is making sure you have the right fit people.
Mm.
Because again, I've seen many people struggle to create a mastermind because they open it up to too broad a group of people. And when people get in it, they feel like, I don't really feel like a lot of these people in this group. Like some of them are, some of them I feel are below me. Some of them are above me. I don't understand some of these conversations that people are having that are above me, or I don't have time for these conversations for the people below me.
Yeah.
So getting that commonality in terms of, and there's many different ways to define that commonality. It is not necessarily just how long they've been in business or the size of their business or that kind of thing. There's all
Oh, yeah.
types of ways to narrow in on that commonality. But the idea is what you're trying to achieve is that in every single meeting, people walk out of it going, oh my God, I can't believe how much these people are like me. Like they have the same problems. Like we're all going through the same stuff. I feel so much more, I feel
Yeah.
better and I feel supported because these people are so much like me.
Right. And I definitely agree. The curation of the group is incredibly important. And, that's why having a facilitator who's familiar with this available to do that, right? Because I mean, I lucked into a good mastermind because we all self-identified as people who wanted to go next level because we all were coming from the same vocabulary because we had all read the success principles together. And then we said, okay, now what are we going to do about it? And so not everyone who book clubbed joined the mastermind.
Yeah.
And I'm letting people kind of understand that not everybody who book clubbed joined the mastermind. It, just like you said, it was the people who were ready to go next level who did that. So we curated by who showed up to the mastermind, you know?
And the beautiful thing is especially if you're creating a mastermind to help monetize your own business,
Mm-hmm.
is the more exclusive you can make it, the more you can charge for it as well.
Mm.
Like there are people out there that have, masterminds that cost $100,000 a year to join.
Oh, yeah.
And most of the time they're not joining those masterminds because whoever's putting it together, they want to learn from. It's because they're taking some of the most badass people in that industry and putting them in this small container, and you're providing access to people who are at or higher than your level. And it's
Mm-hmm.
like, yeah, because I can, I might, by joining that mastermind, one meeting, I can get a six-figure tip from somebody else at that level. So the pinnacle of, again, if you're trying to monetize this, is you are creating a situation where it's not even a matter of chasing clients any longer. You become a gatekeeper. And it's just like,
Mm.
okay, no, I don't need to convince you to join my mastermind. Tell me what value you can bring. Why should I let you in to my exclusive inner circle?
Right.
And you start from there. It's a whole shift in perspective of, but that takes a while to get to that level.
Oh, I agree. Because, as you're talking about that, what comes to mind, and I'm sure you've heard of this group, the Transformational Leaders Council.
Yeah, I've heard of it. I don't know a lot about it.
Oh my gosh. Okay. You know the movie The Secret?
Yeah.
Almost everyone in that movie is a member of the Transformational Leaders Council or was a member when they were interviewed for the movie. And so it's people like Jack Canfield, Mark Victor Hansen. Ivan Meisner is currently a member of the Transformational Leader Council, and he has been for quite a while, And
Yeah.
so it's, I look at that, I'm like, and it's a mastermind. It is. And it's these people who are running the largest, of their whatever it is that they're doing, so it's
Yeah.
all those names that you hear about, they're part of that group. And so I'm sitting there going, yeah, because as soon as I heard about the Transformational Leaders Council, I was like, I want in. I don't know how I'm going to
Yeah.
get there, but I want to get there.
Well, and the key to that is you can't just write a check.
Right.
You have to be invited.
Exactly. And
Yeah.
that's 100% what it is there. And
Yeah.
because these are the people who have access to Richard Branson, Sir Richard Branson, like that's that kind of
Yeah.
thing. So I'm sitting, I'm in this, okay, moving myself to the point where I can get to the point where I want that invitation, So this has been amazing. And I know that anybody who's listening right now who is sitting here going, okay, how I want more, I want to learn more. You have a book, an ebook that talks about masterminding right. It's about how, let's see, the title is Attract and Keep Clients for 3 years, not 3 months. Give us a little hint of what's in the ebook for the Badass Crew.
So in it, I talk about my fewer, better, longer mastermind model, which means making more money with fewer clients, attracting better clients, meaning the ones who will show up, do the work, and get the transformation that we help people with. Because in my experience, especially with coaches and thought leaders, most of us aren't doing what we do to amass a fortune as much as we're doing it because we want to help people. We want to change lives.
Yeah.
And when one of the most frustrating things when you're trying to do that is, people will buy a course or they'll go through a group coaching program and they don't show up for the meetings, or they don't do the work in between meetings. They don't get the result, right? I would rather, I'd rather give away my time for someone who's going to get results and do it and work for free than have somebody pay me and not get results. So the idea is
you are preaching to the choir right
now. Yeah. So better clients and then longer term clients, because again, in one-on-one coaching, in courses, in group coaching, they're typically structured around specific outcomes and specific lengths of time. So in 90 days, we're going to teach you X, Y, and Z. In 3 months, you're going to go from here to here. And when you're done, you're done. It's like, okay, thank you very much for that course program. I'm ready to move on to the next strategy, tactic, or guru.
Yeah.
Whereas in a mastermind, you can set it up so that you ask people to commit for 6 or 12 months up front. But if you position it that, no, this is ongoing. After that 12 months, you're staying in for as long as you want, as long as you're getting value.
Right.
And that's where you keep people for 3 years, not 3 months.
I love that. And I would agree, because my best clients are the ones who are in that situation where we've become, there's been aspects of masterminding, but it's not been intentional at this point. So now I'm like, I'm so excited to work with you, because I'm also, well, first of all, for those of you who are interested in the ebook, we have the link in the show notes. So my Badass Crew, they already know how to get to the show notes. That's fine. But just in case this is someone's first time listening to the show or watching this on YouTube, please go down to the show notes, grab your phone as long as you're not driving, click on today's episode, scroll under Jay's picture, and you will see the show notes there, along with the link to get the ebook, Attract and Keep Clients for 3 years, not 3 months. But in addition to that, for any of you who are ready to go next level and you're already like, yes, I want in, because I brought Jay on because I'm going to be in your Mastermind Bootcamp. Tell us more about that.
Yeah, so this is an event that I do a few times a year, and it's a 3-day virtual event where it's perfect for the person who, like, if you've listened to this, say, yeah, I like this mastermind concept, but I'm not sure what I would create and how I would do it and who would be the right fit people. The 3 days we walk you through in a very workshop style, defining exactly those things. There's
Mm,
lots of different types of masterminds you can create. There's,
yeah.
that hybrid program. It's in between group coaching and the true mastermind. So we walk you through some exercises where you really define what is the right program that takes advantage of your superpowers, but most importantly is going to deliver the most transformation for your clients. Then we dive deep into who it's for and who it's not for. So really defining that narrow audience for the people that you want to attract into it. Then we help you create a simple funnel so that you can create one of these groups without needing a huge email list or without needing the big fancy sales funnel. And then we have you walk out of the 3-day event with a plan of here's going to be my next steps that I'm going to take towards bringing this thing to fruition. So,
I am so excited for this,
yeah,
y'all. I can't even begin to tell you.
yeah, it's a fun event. It's very, like I said, it's very interactive, but many people tell me it's the best 3-day online event they've ever attended.
Oh, now I'm going to tell you, I have a high standard for that because I've been participating in as a participant 3-day events for years. So I'm super excited because I'm a high I, a high D. So it's got to be fun and get stuff done. So the fact that you're already saying fun and you walk out with like the inner Jenny is just so freaking happy right now, Jay. I cannot wait to do this. So your 6-figure mastermind boot camp is happening in November, the 20th, 21st, and 22nd of November of 2024. Now, if you're listening to this and you already missed it, don't worry. I'm sure he's doing it again because podcasts are evergreen, Jay, as you know. So we're going to have the sign up for people who want to attend that one. Will the link that I put in there, will that work for future boot camps as well? Or is it?
Yes,
Okay,
it will.
fantastic.
Correct.
Awesome. So even if you're listening to this in 2025, 2026, and you're wondering, oh, can I go to this? I want to see when the next one is. Go click on the link, find out when the next one is, and then you will be able to check that out. But for those of you who are listening in November of 2024, like get signed up now. Do not wait because I'm going to be in the room. So if you're part of my audience, I'm going to be there to help you out, because I'm sure Jay, correct me if I'm wrong because I haven't been, but I'm assuming if we're showing up to a mastermind event, we all end up helping each other mastermind style, right?
Absolutely. There will be some breakout rooms several times during the event, and you get the opportunity to interact with each other as well as get coaching live from me during the event.
Ah,
Absolutely.
see, so you guys don't want to miss the November 2024 version because I'm going to be in that room. I've already blocked it out of my calendar. I've got my ticket. I'm in. So, Jay, thank you so very much for being here and sharing this because I know masterminding is is a big reason and what propelled my business to where it went in the world of direct sales. And I know that masterminding in a variety of ways over the past 7 years of my coaching business has also helped me immensely. So I'm so glad to be able to share this with my audience because I'd love to be able to help them do this as well. So I appreciate you sharing your expertise here.
Can I share one final thought?
Oh, please do. Yes.
So, if you think about the age we're living in with information overload, AI, digital disconnection, right? Every single day at this point, AI makes information, content, and training less valuable because already, as of today, AI can train you in almost anything in the world for free in a few minutes to give you the same kind of training you would get in a course or that kind of thing. What
Very
AI
true.
can never do is replace human relationships and human connection. So, to me, especially over the next 3 to 10 years, that level of human connection, being able to create that family of choice, as you said, that curated group of people that become your brothers and sisters, become, in many cases, they'll become closer to you than some of your family members.
Oh,
The
yeah.
value of that is going to be going up exponentially while the value of information, content, and training goes down.
I definitely agree with that for sure. So, Jay, this has been fantastic. Thank you for sharing that because I do believe that obviously all of our success is based on how we connect with others, whether it's our customers, our team members, our mastermind partners, and just referral partners moving forward. So this has been fantastic. I'm so excited to work with you and go further down this road with you and this journey with you. So thank you again for being here.
Thanks, Jenny. Appreciate it.
Absolutely. And Badass Crew, you know how this goes. Stay tuned because there's another badass episode on its way.
Thanks for listening to the Badass Direct Sales Mastery Podcast with your direct sales dom, Jennie Bellinger. Why are you waiting to go to badassdirectsalesmastery.com? Don't make the dom get her whip. If you enjoyed this episode, make sure to share it with another rock star that you know in direct sales after you subscribe to the podcast so you won't miss any future episodes. You can also check out the show notes for links and any contact information mentioned in today's episode. We'll see you next time.